This is everything you need to know before setting sail on the world's largest cruise ship, Icon of the Seas.
Hey everyone, it's Jen and Andy from A Couple Travelers, and we are on Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas for its maiden voyage.
Royal Caribbean designed this brand new class of cruise ship to be the ultimate family vacation, and it has 8 distinct neighborhoods.
The first family raft slides at sea.
Over 40 bars and restaurants.
The first suspended infinity pool at sea.
The largest pool at sea.
And 6 record-breaking water slides.
We've been on the ship for the past week. We've learned a lot about it, so let's get into our 15 tips that you need to know about Icon of the Seas.
Tip number 1 is about the Crown's Edge, a super exciting activity over at Thrill Island. And yes, it is something that you should absolutely be doing on your vacation. And the tip is to not bring anything with you when you go to do this activity. We showed up with our backpacks and there are no lockers or anywhere to store your stuff. So our tip is to just either have your family member hold your things while you're doing the activity or leave your things at your pool chair or wherever you are spending your day.
Really the only thing you need to bring with you is your SeaPass card, and they have a pocket in the jumpsuit for you to keep that while you're participating in the activity. Jenna needed to bring a hair elastic to tie her hair back. You can't wear any accessories like hats or sunglasses or jewelry, so that would need to stay with your personal belongings as well because, like we said, there are no lockers at the Crown's Edge. Tip number 2 is about dueling pianos, and the tip is to arrive early. This is a very popular new offering aboard Icon of the Seas. It's a very fun new bar and lounge area that we participated in, but it gets very crowded. So arrive early and get your seat. They also have a double-sided bar too, so if you get there and there's not a seat, you can kind of watch outside. Like this gets a crowd out of the bar as well, but just keep that in mind. And
another good tip for the dueling pianos is that Tim and Sarah, who did the dueling pianos on our sailing, they often played 2 shows that had a small break in between. So if you catch the last bit of the first show, you then have a really good chance of getting a table when the crowd is leaving after the first show. So then you could, hang out for that half hour or so between shows, and then you'll have a table for that next show, which you really want to get a table and be part of that like full experience. It's a lot of fun. And also with the dueling pianos, so they take requests. They have a little special pad for you to write down requests. Money helps you get the request in. And then they kept doing this funny thing. They were like, oh, I got 20 bucks to play Sweet Caroline. And then the other piano person, so if that was Sarah, Tim would say like, and for $21, I won't play it. So like, if you don't want to hear a song, you can always bid and they won't play it. So there's another tip for dueling pianos. Tip number 3 is to pick a neighborhood for the day and stay there. So on our sailing, we were so excited to just move around and keep seeing what's new and try all the different things that we actually found it hard to kind of find some chairs, and by moving around so much during the day that we think a better strategy would be to pick a neighborhood and make that your neighborhood for the day.
And the way Royal Caribbean designed that was very much like a resort, right? Everything you need is in that neighborhood. So your dining, your bathrooms, your entertainment, it's all consolidated in one area. So it actually kind of works in your favor to pick an area or a neighborhood and stay there for the day. Tip number 4 is recognizing that Icon of the Seas, the ship, is a destination in and of itself. So you might want to consider skipping a port or 2. Icon of the Seas, like we said, is the largest cruise ship in the world. And frankly, it's just a lot to do within a week. It's very much like Walt Disney World, where you are hard pressed to hit all 4 theme parks and 2 water parks in Disney Springs all in a week. So you kind of need to make some sacrifices or concessions if you really want to do everything that the ship has to offer. So if you are very seasoned cruisers, for example, and if your sailing stops at Perfect Day at Coco Cay, you might want to consider maybe just not going ashore and staying on the ship if you've been to Coco Cay multiple times before, where none of that would really be new to you, as to where, you know, Thrill Island on Icon would would be. So it is up to you and your family, obviously, but all in all, Icon of the Seas has a lot to offer. So just consider that when you're planning your vacation.
It's almost the end of our cruise, and there are still things that we're seeing for the first time. There are still places, bars that we haven't been to, restaurants we haven't tried. It is impossible to do this all in a week. And I think Royal very much did this on purpose. And it's one of those, you have to come back. And I think you can very much book a return trip.
They want you going to the next cruise desk.
And you know what? It's not a bad idea because it really is the ultimate family vacation. Which leads really nicely into tip number 5, which is to make an Icon bucket list. There is so much to do, to see, to experience, to eat, to drink on this ship. And it is very easy to all of a sudden you're saying, oh no, it's day 6, I haven't done X, Y, and Z, and now I don't have time to do it all on my last day. So work with your family and whoever you're traveling with, and everybody make a list of what they want to do, what's their priority, and be able to check things off as you go to make sure that nobody is stepping off the ship at the end of their trip going, oh no, I didn't get to do what I wanted to do.
Tip number 6 is to know where the shaded spots are by the pool if you need those during a sea day. Specifically on Icon of the Seas on deck 15 on the starboard side next to the Royal Bay pool, it is all covered from the deck above, so it is a really great area with the ship's design to be under some shade.
A lot of the other really kind of Instagrammable spots like the Hideaway, the Swim Up, Pool Bar, those are all in pure sun. So after a while, you need to get out of it.
No shade at the Hideaway at all.
Yeah, it just, you are fully exposed. So it's nice to know that you have some areas where you can just go and be covered for a bit. Tip number 7 is to work with a travel agent. And I just happen to be one. So if you're interested in coming aboard Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas or any of their other amazing ships, if you're interested in cruising on other cruise lines, going to some all-inclusives or potentially some theme parks, I'd love to be able to help you with that. It is completely free to work with a travel agent. You might not know that. So if you're interested in some more information or maybe a no obligation quote, I'll put my email address in the video description below.
Tip number 8 is to know where to watch your activities from. Specifically for the Royal Bay pool, it could get very crowded around that area. So actually a really great spot is deck 16 across Central Park on the port side, where it looks right down on the Royal Bay pool. So for any activities that happen in the Royal Bay pool, like the World's Sexiest Man competition, for example, a really good spot to scope out, again, is deck 16 on the port side, where you get a better view of those activities.
Tip number 9, leave behind big jewelry for the water slides. We actually learned this by attempting to go on a water slide, and they pointed to my engagement ring and said, nope, gotta take that off. Engagement, like bands were totally fine, but anything with a larger stone cannot be worn. My regular earrings that I wear every day were fine, but necklaces, anything along those lines are definitely not allowed on water slides. Even one lady we saw was turned away. She had a permanent necklace on, you know, one of those that they fuse around. And so she unfortunately was turned away. I felt bad because that's something she can't actually take off. So it's just something to keep in mind. Leave behind your engagement rings, anything that is larger jewelry. It can't be brought on the water slides.
Tip number 10, there are stairs that directly link Central Park and the Royal Promenade. This is a great new design feature to the Icon class of ships that allow you to get directly between those two neighborhoods without needing to go to either end of the promenade or the park, getting to the elevator, bank, or stairwell, and going between those two floors. You now could walk from one neighborhood directly to the other on its own dedicated staircase, which makes this ship very, very accessible.
Tip number 11, make sure your bathroom is locked before you start going.
Not the bathroom in your stateroom. This is the public bathrooms around the ship.
Specifically in the Hideaway and Thrill Island and some of those. So to give some context, Icon of the Seas has this new technology for opening bathroom doors where you wave your hand to open and lock the doors. It is a way to reduce the number of people touching doorknobs. So it's actually a really great thing. So it makes sense in the ones where it's leading to a larger bathroom with a lot of stalls. So no one's touching that one door that leads to the larger bathroom. But in places like Thrill Island and the Hideaway, they are family bathrooms. So it's one door to a one-person bathroom. Now the thing is, when it opens and closes, it is an automatic door that you are opening and closing. And you know, with technology, it's not always
intuitive.
It may not always be working properly. So you're standing outside the door, you wave it open, and the door starts to open. So then intuitively, you go inside the bathroom and you wave it closed. Now the tip is, in order to actually get this to work, you need to let the door fully open before you wave it closed. If you wave it closed before the door has fully opened, then when you go to lock it, it actually is not locked or closed, and then you're going to start going to the bathroom, and the second somebody walks by and therefore triggers the open from the outside, it will open because it did not do the full open and close, if that makes sense.
And just a good double check, there is a little sign inside the bathroom above the kind of the red or green light that you will see in the bathroom that says, you know, if you are seeing red, it is locked. So that's kind of like you're okay to start your business. So if you ever need a double check, just look for that. Tip number 12, look for design features to help you navigate the stateroom hallways. So when you're walking the halls of a cruise ship, the carpet pattern can be very repetitive and monotonous. So you want a way to easily identify how to exit the hallway to get to the stairwells and the elevator banks. So you will notice when you get to those exits, it will change from that repetitive pattern to a distinct pattern with the blue design and blue borders that will show you this is where you exit to go to the elevators and the stairwell.
So you don't need to keep turning your head. Is this the door? Is this the door? Oh, that's where they keep the towels. Oh, that's the room. It's just, oh, the carpet changed. Yep, that's the elevator. It's very easy. Once you notice that, you'll never have to worry about missing the elevators.
Another tip related to navigating around the stateroom hallways is, since most ships are organized with a forward, middle, and aft section, on the placards outside of the stateroom with the stateroom numbers on them, they have a little icon at the top for no pun intended. And depending on where you are in the ship, it is highlighted in white. So it's basically a outline of a ship, and if you're in the forward part of the ship, you will see a solid white portion of that icon filled in, so you know you're in the forward part. Also, depending on where you are, they are color coded. So for example, on Icon of the Seas, if you were in the forward part of the ship, those placards outside the staterooms are aqua, midship is blue, and aft is dark blue.
Tip number 13, pack seasick medication, even if you've never needed it before. Typically, the bigger the ship has meant the less you'd feel the rocking and the severity of the ocean. That has not seemed to be the case. In fact, this is the most we've ever felt a ship move. So it is surprising on the largest cruise ship in the world, and many guests we've spoke to have said the same thing.
And we're just saying this to be proactive. I think a tip, regardless of cruise ship that you're going on, is to pack your Dramamine or your Bonine if you are susceptible to seasickness. Our particular sailing could just be a combination of, you know, swell in the ocean or, you know, high winds. You know, I've heard captains in the past say that the larger the ship, the more surface area that it has. It acts like a sail, like a traditional sailboat. So it could catch the wind, and that can move it around more easily. So just a couple things to keep in mind, but overall, like you would for any cruise, don't think that the size of the cruise ship is a reason to leave any of those medications at home.
And it really was just, if you are somebody who cruises often and you say, I never have to worry about seasickness, maybe you just want to pack it in case, because I've felt it a lot more than I ever have on other ships. So there was a time where I felt a little iffy at one point. Don't want to deter anybody from coming on Icon by any means, but it's just something to keep in mind.
Tip number 14, for the Aqua Show and the Ice Skating Show, arrive at those theaters early so you could get a seat in the center. And that's just so you have the most unobstructed view possible. Now, the Aqua Theater and the Aqua Dome on Icon of the Seas, there is some points of the Aqua Action Show specifically that happens in the center of the stage between two of the towers where some of the performers dive from, and you just won't get the full experience if you are seated off to the side where you might not have a clear view of what's happening in the center of the theater. Now for the Ice Show in Absolute Zero, that theater is supported by poles, so depending on where you sit, you might not have a fully unobstructed view of the ice because there might be some poles in your way. So just something to keep in mind. Again, rule of thumb, arrive early so you get a seat in the center.
Also for the ice skating show, there is a juggler who is fantastic. He's one of the best parts of the show, truly. Whenever he performs, he only performs facing forward. So if you are on the sides or toward the back, because it is almost 360, you're gonna be facing his back or side area. So you're really gonna want that kind of dead center spot for the Aqua Show and for the ice skating show. And really, it's also kind of a good tip as well to just show up early for the Wizard of Oz. We sat kind of to a side for that show. We definitely don't lose anything for that, the way that theater is laid out, but it's always good to just show up early for all of the theater shows. Tip number 15, seek out other lunch options on embarkation day. A lot of people, us included on other cruises, love to go to the Windjammer on embarkation day. But we suggest that you check out other things, and on Icon specifically, there are so many incredible eateries on this ship. We actually on embarkation day went to the Aquadome market. We wanted to try something brand new, and it was actually fantastic. It was not crowded at all. We had 5 stations to choose from, so we could get a little bit of everything to try out, and 0 complaints. Great spot for lunch for sure. And it has wonderful ocean views. So definitely check out something other than Windjammer, which tends to be a little bit more crowded, especially on embarkation day. So those were our top 15 tips for a great vacation on Icon of the Seas. We also are going to be doing a video reviewing our experience on Icon, one getting into all of the pros and the cons of this ship. So be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss that upload. And if this video has been helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up.
But that's everything we have for you today. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and follow us on social media at A Couple Travelers.
And until next time, keep traveling.